Hey guys, my name is Revan Phoenix and welcome to the Structure of Man, Learn to Draw the Human Figure from your Mind Training course. Okay, so from the previous lesson we were looking at trying to getting the mind to begin to understand the invention of the hand where we're creating all the bone structures and our own rules. So here from that point on we began to understand the purpose of the ulna and how the radius and how things can twist around. Basically, and we can start to now form the idea for the hand based on a very simple shape. So the next thing that we want to do is now begin to understand, okay, where exactly is the middle finger, right? So the middle finger is going to be where, if you take from here to here half and divide, this is where the middle finger is going to be, right? So on this one, if you take, you can just see the relationship where this is next to the ulna, right? So you know that your middle finger is just going to be here because this is really the middle of this, right? It's that easy to understand from here in that freehand idea. This is where the middle finger is going to be. So what happens is that you're going to get over here, you're going to go from here and just end up about here, and then for this one you're going to end up halfway over here, from here to here halfway, right? So we're going to get just a general idea for the palm and basically connect it over here. But when we get over here, we're going to actually curve this in a little bit. Okay, so this is the understanding of what is needed for the palm area, right? So over here it would be the same thing, that you know that, okay, look at the relationship where this is and where this is for the small finger, right? So we could just technically do it this way also, right? Bring this idea out more and do it this way and know that this is how the palm is going to be, right? You could have just, we can do this with scribbly lines in the gesture system, and obviously they'll come back and use this very deep understanding of how the hand is being constructed over here. So once we have this, what we're going to do is now create the bone structures. So basically we all already know that we need 4 bones over here. So we're going to first put down 4 circles. This is for the middle finger, and this is going to be for the index finger, this is going to be for the ring finger, and this is going to be for the small finger, right? So you're going to get those circles over here. So basically what happens is that your bone structure, basically the width of this here, your bones for the hand are going to come like this, but they're going to be on a curve like this, right? This is the first bone that's going to be on this curve. It's going to have this curve over here, this one over here, and then technically this one over here, it's just going to be like this over here, coming in this way. So this is like a bone that's going in this way over here, right? This is the most basic concept of understanding the design of the hand. So over here it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to connect like this over here, and it's going to just be like this, right? So just note that over here I did it this way, this way, this way, right? And obviously over here this is just going to be over here, right? So notice this line over here, how this is going and how this is going. So these are going to be your knuckles, right? So over here we know that, okay, I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I know I can just use suggestion to do this, right? Just do 1 bone here, I'm going to get another bone over here, right? We can come back in and correct all these, right? So we get those bone structures over there. So now if I erase some of this stuff here, we'll start to see as how we can easily start to understand and draw the hand out, right? So these are only the knuckles. So the important thing to understand from this is this line ratio here, what's going on, right? You gotta be aware of this line ratio here. So the other thing left is that we need to create the bone for the thumb. So basically where we are here, right, it's really where this guy is. Where this guy is really just half of this, like a little bit down over here. So wherever this ends, you're going to create a bone that's going to just come like this in this curve and be over here like this, right? So over here you're going to get the thumb bone like this in here. So what this bone is right now this bone, right? We haven't even gotten over here. We're still stuck over here, right? So this will be here, and this is where you'll start to get that dip in here. This dip, see, there's a dip over here that goes that gets created, and you can see this, it's here and then this is separate, right? So it's like this over here. So this is like the characteristics of the hand. So the next thing that we'll do is start to understand, okay, how do we now begin to grasp the concept of the fingers? So basically where this line is, now this is where we're going to begin to understand the different ratios over here of the hand. So where we have the middle finger, we're going to get a bone structure over here, and where this middle is just going to come in over here a little bit. This will be our first bone for the ring finger, okay? And again, it has to do with this ratio over here. You're going to get this, and basically this ratio here will come close more over here. It starts to compress over here. It doesn't compress too much over here, right? So if we have this over here, it's just going to go like this, and then this bone over here, you're going to get this other bone over here, and it's going to come like this and do the same thing, right? So the understanding of this is, we already had talked about, that this guy is a little more larger than this guy, right? So this means that because the obvious reason would be that this is going a little more in, right? But they're technically kind of almost at the same level. So just keep that in mind, that when you're drawing this out, when you draw this, that this needs to be a little more shorter than the other one, right? And this is why this line here is going to help to understand this idea. And obviously this is going to be nothing more than this going in this direction and finishing itself off, right? It's a very simple bone system, but it has to be shorter than this one over here, right? So just understanding this ratio over here. So where this is, this also, this basically means that when you get the idea for the thumb bone here, I'm just going to have to overlap this a little bit. I'm going to erase some of this stuff here. Where you get the bone for this thumb, it's going to be like this, and it's just going to come like this, right? So basically where this guy is ending, it's close to about here, right? Notice where this is. It's not right on it, it's like a little above on it, right? So here we can just do that too. Just draw them out, knowing how these ratios are working, right? We can draw out these bones over here, right? Just get them conceptually down onto paper and know that this one is larger than this one when it comes on this side over here. Okay, so the other thing left now is we're going to get another bone. So what we just did here are these bones, right? Now we're going to look at this one. So if we look at this bone here, this bone is basically going to come over here, and it's going to be, if you had this and you divide this in half, this whole line over here, you're going to get this bone to come just like this, right? So notice how these bones are just becoming much more pointier, right? So it's going to be the same thing again. You're going to get this ratio over here, it's going to come a little bit closer, and then this ratio here again, it's just going to be a little more closer to this, right? So we already understood that when this bone comes out, right, this bone is just going to come out like this, and when we do this bone, that this bone here needs to be a little bit longer, right? He has to be longer than this one, okay? And it's going to be the same thing over here. You're just going to get this bone that's shaped like this, It's just going to get pointier and pointier as we go along, right? So I'm just going to clean some of this stuff up here. It's really nothing more to understanding the structure of this. Is really going to come down to the muscles here. So here I'm gonna actually clean up some of these knuckle areas here. Start to make it look like a hand over here, not the ball joints. Right, so we've got this figured out, and basically what happens in the end is that the thumb is just going to now get this bone over here. Right, so this bone is basically coming close to where this is. Right, it's not that close, but it's there. Right, so this just tells you the ratios of how this is working. Right, so this also tells you that in the thumb you've got 1, 2, 3, right? This is the first one, this is the second one, this is going to be the third one. But in the fingers we have more. We have 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to get another one. And this is the small piece of bone. It's really just going to come out like this. Right, and this bone is just going to be that pointy. So meaning that your fingernails are going to be over here. Right, your fingernails are going to be here, and then you're going to get your whole finger over here. Right, so depending on the length, so we said that, okay, well, this is going to be pretty much the chin, right? The ratio is so close that you can make this a little longer, make your fingernails, basically it's the same concept, right? Depending on the types of different hands people have, but basically it's always going to come down here because we moved it also up here, right? So if you put everything down, it's just going to be the size of one head, right? So that's where your fingernails would be, right? And that's really it. So here I'm just going to erase this part here and erase, really just do these over here, right? So these bones are over here connected, right? And there's no bone here, right? So this just gives you a very simple idea of what's going on. So right now I've got this here. I know I need 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 1, 2, so here I'm going to do 3 and then 4, and then let's say that this finger was like this over here, I would do this, and then this finger here like this, and this finger here like this, right? So knowing that this is more longer, and this will start to give you the design for the skeletal structure of the hand, right? So obviously the fingers will go this way, right? So if you just look at this and put some basic shapes around it, you can start to see how this helps you to understand how the hand is, right? Taking into account size of the nail. So it's going to be going like this. And then of course this is the area for the thumb. Right, this is like the most basic idea of it, that's what does it. Right, so what we'll do in the next lesson is we'll continue on from here. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks.